Hello, thank you for joining me in Stepping Up to Your Potential. I'm Sandra Robinson. The No-Knots game. There's a game I've learned to play which I found immensely helpful. It originally came from Miles Robinson over at Darkside Living. He calls it the No-Knots game, and I've taught it to several of my friends when their negative self-talk was getting to me. Essentially, the game is simple, and yet it's surprisingly, wonderfully challenging. I've learned that it works best to start the game and brain training with writing. Then, as your skill improves, you can take the game into your speech and ultimately thinking. Before I explain the game, here's a quick assignment. Write down a short paragraph exploring your choice of these questions. What do you value most about yourself? What kind of person do you want to be? What does your ideal situation look like? What is your personal creed? Once you've finished and you're satisfied with the answer, go through and circle all of the not references. For every single one of them, rephrase the sentence. Keep going until all nots are gone. If you really want to challenge yourself, go until all negatives have been removed as well. The goal is to remove both the nots and the negative, limitation-focused thinking. When I first started playing this game, it was a real struggle to rephrase sentences. I found myself replacing the negative with another negative. So I'll warn you that it's likely to be quite challenging at first. But the ultimate intention of the game is to change the way that you think. Know also that the subconscious mind sort of overlooks the word not anyway. How many times have you left a single word out of a sentence and it just so happens that it's not? As a funny historical reference illustrating this is simply human nature rather than a modernism, in 1631 a printer was publishing a copy of the King James Bible. It was all perfect, save for one word. One tiny little word, left out of a strategic location. This Bible instructed people that one of the 10 Commandments was, "Thou shalt commit adultery." Oops! It was dubbed the Wicked Bible, and a few copies still exist today. Indeed, leaving out the not is considered one of the most common and innocent of mistakes, unless you're printing a Bible, of course, and many writing style guides advise writers to avoid using them entirely. This mental ability of the brain to completely overlook this little negative word is why I always try to remember something, rather than don't forget something. Instead of being prompted to not forget, my brain instead hears forget and thinks, done. I prefer to see you set yourself up for success by using positives. You're likely to remember more of them, and you'll start seeing potentials where before were limitations. Once you've begun to master this seemingly simple game, I suspect you'll also start to become aware of just how frequently others use it as well. I know that for me, it became glaringly obvious to the point that I started prompting friends to reword their ideas, guiding them away from not thinking. Notice I mentioned limitations above. When you start to hear the word in the thought process of others, it becomes increasingly clear just how much not is a limiter, a hard stop. When it comes to my potential, I want doors, signposts, guides, guardrails maybe, paths forward, roads, bridges. I now choose to see these instead of barriers. And I'd love for this barrier to be removed from all of your potential as well. Know that when this game starts to really sink in, your thinking changes. Change your thinking. Change everything. If you found value in today's episode, I hope that you'll join me for future ones. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss anything.